12 foods are quietly disappearing from American shelves, not because supermarkets are out of stock today, but because the production capacity behind them is collapsing in real time. Climate disruption, geopolitical conflict, disease outbreaks, and supply chain failure are converging on the food system simultaneously. Preppers and experienced food storage communities have been quietly hoarding these specific items for the past 18 months. This is what they are buying, and why. Brazil's coffee belt entered 2024 battered by drought and unpredictable rain. The Arabica harvest dropped to 54.79 million bags, a 6.8% fall from initial projections. Vietnam's output, hit by severe drought, fell by as much as 20%. By December, Arabica futures in New York reached $3.34 per pound, a level last seen in 1977. Global stocks monitored by ICE slipped below 800,000 bags, the lowest in over 20 years. Coffee became a scarcity, not just a commodity. Prepper communities tracking these numbers shifted their habits. Bulk purchases of 50-pound bags, once rare, became standard. Influencers on prepper forums showed off shipments tagged with 5-year shelf lives, their prices mirroring the future's spike. Spain's olive oil sector faced its own reckoning. By late 2024, 2 years of relentless heat and drought had halved the country's olive oil harvest. Eurostat recorded a 50% jump in EU olive oil prices from January 2023 to January 2024. Wholesale prices in Spain soared past $10 per kilogram, double the historical average. The European Union flagged over 50 alerts for counterfeit or adulterated olive oil in early 2024, triple the number from 6 years earlier. Small mills closed as fraud, and costs surged. Preppers responded by buying high-end, extra virgin olive oil in bulk, 20-kilogram tins sealed for freshness, with a 2-year shelf life. One influencer demonstrated a purchase for $210, citing both price trends and the need for shelf-stable fats. Cocoa followed the same pattern. Ivory Coast and Ghana, the world's top exporters, faced repeated weather shocks and rising costs. Cocoa futures soared, with industry rumors of $12,000 per metric ton. Preppers switched to shelf-stable options, dark chocolate bars vacuum-sealed and rotated every 18 months, and pure cocoa powder, which lasts indefinitely if kept dry. Across coffee, olive oil, and cocoa, climate disruption has become a direct driver of scarcity. Preppers aren't waiting for empty shelves. They're tracking harvests and prices, buying in bulk, and choosing products with proven shelf lives. Florida's orange groves have become a cautionary tale of agricultural collapse. In the season from 2023 to 2024, harvests fell to just 1.2 million tons, barely half the long-term average. The cause is citrus greening, an incurable bacterial disease spread by the Asian citrus psyllid. Once infected, trees stop producing marketable fruit within a few years. No resistant variety has been found, and replanting offers no solution. New trees succumb just as quickly. Hurricanes in 2022 and 2023 destroyed what disease left standing, driving Florida's output to its lowest in 90 years. By late 2024, frozen orange juice inventories hit a 3-decade low, forcing processors to ration shipments. The price of a standard 52-ounce bottle rose 85% in a year. In response, some households now stockpile vitamin C tablets and powdered orange drink mixes, both of which can last a decade in sealed mylar. Fresh juice, with its short shelf life, has become a rare treat in a market shaped by long-term scarcity. Vanilla faces a quieter but equally stubborn shortage. Madagascar, which supplies about 80% of the world's vanilla, saw its 2024 crop drop to 140 metric tons after cyclones and political turmoil crippled exports. The vanilla orchid takes 3 years to mature, and each flower must be pollinated by hand. Even in ideal conditions, recovery is slow. Wholesale prices swung between $200 and $600 per kilogram, fueling a surge in counterfeit extracts and synthetics. Preppers now buy pure vanilla extract in bulk, storing it in amber glass bottles where it remains stable for decades. 5-kilogram containers have become standard for those preparing for future shocks. Maple syrup, too, is under strain. Quebec's reserve dropped to 1.8 million liters in 2024, the lowest in 20 years. A warm winter shortened the sap season by nearly a fifth, cutting per tree yields from 13 to 9 liters. U.S. imports from Quebec fell 27%, and Canadian prices jumped 42% between January and August. Sugar maples require 5 to 7 years to reach commercial sap flow. Pure maple syrup stored in glass or steel drums never spoils and is now prized as both staple and trade good. Citrus, vanilla, and maple syrup show how disease and depleted reserves create shortages that last for years. Preppers adapt by storing substitutes with proven shelf lives, accepting that some scarcities have no quick remedy. Eggs and tuna, two of the most basic protein sources on American tables, now sit at the center of a policy-driven scarcity cycle. The avian influenza outbreak that swept through United States poultry farms from 2022 to 2024 forced the culling of over 100 million chickens. In March 2022 alone, more than 16 million birds were destroyed in a single month, with commercial egg-laying flocks hit hardest. By late 2024, the national layer hen population had dropped from its pre-outbreak baseline of 312 million to just under 296 million. This sharp reduction in the country's egg-laying capacity pushed retail egg prices above $4 per dozen, a threshold not seen in decades. The lag between culling and flock recovery is built into the biology. Each new batch of hens requires at least 5 months to reach full production. USDA projections suggest that, even if no new outbreaks occur, the United States will not return to pre-crisis egg inventories until mid-2026. Preppers, watching these numbers climb, turn to powdered and freeze-dried eggs, products that, when sealed with oxygen absorbers, can last a decade or more. On prepper forums, one household demonstrated a pantry lined with 5-kilogram tubs of powdered eggs, enough to last through multiple supply cycles. Their logic is simple. When every new wave of avian flu triggers another cull, shelf-stable eggs become a hedge against both price spikes and empty shelves. Tuna, once considered a limitless staple, faces a different kind of constraint. The International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas reported in 2024 that Pacific bluefin stocks have fallen to just 4% of their historic spawning biomass. In response, international quotas have been slashed. Atlantic bluefin catch limits dropped by 23% this year, and Pacific quotas fell by 19%. Both Japan and the United States have adopted conservation-only fishing seasons, effectively halving the annual catch from recent averages. For preppers, the appeal of canned tuna is its longevity. Properly processed, low-acid cans remain shelf-stable for up to 5 years. One prepper influencer showed off a recent shipment, cases of 48 cans, each stamped with a 2029 best buy date, explaining that protein security now means buying ahead of the next quota cut. As policy-driven shortages ripple through the protein supply, households are forced to think in years, not weeks, when securing staple foods. Almonds, once a sign of plenty, now signal deeper instability in the food chain. California, which supplies about 80% of the world's almonds, faces drought and water rights lawsuits that have halted new orchard plantings for at least 3 years. In 2024, the price of almonds jumped 40%, from $1.70 to $2.38 per pound. For those watching the numbers, this is a warning. A nut prepper shows off a 20-kilogram sack of in-shell almonds, sealed in mylar with oxygen absorbers, built to last a decade. When water is rationed and the courts are gridlocked, tree nuts become both a store of calories and a hedge against inflation. Rice, the backbone of long-term storage, faces its own crisis. In August 2023, India banned exports of non-basmati rice, cutting out 40% of the world's traded supply overnight. Thailand and Vietnam, already at capacity, could not fill the gap. Global reserves fell to a 15-year low, and wholesale prices rose over 20%. A rice prepper group responded with a coordinated 10-ton bulk buy, each 50-pound bag destined for deep storage in mylar-lined bins. With a shelf life of up to 30 years, white rice remains the bedrock of food security when export bans hit without warning. Honey, once a quiet staple, now comes with questions. U.S. honey production has dropped 60% since the early 1990s, hit by colony collapse and pesticides. In 2024, An FDA survey found 70% of supermarket honey samples adulterated with added sugars. A honey prepper points to rows of raw, unfiltered jars, each marked by a local beekeeper. Stored airtight, real honey. Never spoils. It is a sweetener, preservative, and barter good immune to fraud. Salt completes the list. Mediterranean sea salt harvests shrank 15% in 2024, while pink salt exports from Pakistan to India stopped entirely. For preppers, a 100-pound drum sealed with desiccant is a fixture. Salt never expires, making it both a preservative and a currency when supply chains break. Right now, global coffee stocks sit at 12-year lows, and egg inventories still haven't recovered from the latest avian flu wave. As production bottlenecks tighten, scarcity hits long before shelves go empty. Food security isn't about what's stocked today. It's about what can't be replaced tomorrow. Stay alert.